Hi, my name is Brett Crossley. I'm with North Central PA. I'm one of their newest reporters on staff, and I'm here to talk to you about comic books in our monthly installment called the Comic Book Column. We're on issue 3 of the Comic Book Column, and what we want to do each month with the column is we're going to talk on some comic books that maybe you guys would be interested in reading on, some other things that are going on in entertainment that would include movies, video games, publishing, anything that you can think of in the comic book industry. So this month we're going to start off with a serious topic. We're going to talk about the split between DC comic books and Diamond Publishing. Anybody who knows anything about comic books, movies, anything that involves superheroes knows DC, knows Batman, knows Superman. This is going to be a big deal for the comic book industry. DC accounts for roughly 30% of comic books in the industry, with Marvel obviously taking the bulk of share of that. For Diamond Publishing, this is a huge blow. The way this kind of started and what this means from a local standpoint, DC, when this originally, the COVID situation hit, Diamond Publishing said they would no longer supply or be publishing comic books due to the COVID. So DC wanted to go on their own. And first, they wanted to come back to Diamond Publishing, and they eventually ended up going with Lunar Distribution and UCS Comics that go through Midtown, and then Penguin Random House Publishing. And what this means for the local comic book scene is that comic book people like myself that like to go into the shops and pick their comic books up and talk to everybody in there, DC comic books might not be there anymore. It all of a sudden costs the publisher or the comic book shops more money. There's also cheaper ways to get them through Midtown. So what basically happened was DC or the local comic book shops now have to buy from their competitors just to bring comic book shops into their shop. And it's going to be tough on them because Midtown and the other publishers or giants in the industry can sell things at a discount. Basically, for anyone not in the comic book involved in the comic book industry like that, from a seller standpoint, it basically is the equivalent of mom and pop shops throughout the industry being shut down by stores like Amazon and Walmart. So this is a difficult time. Everybody can make their choices. I myself, I'm not going to be buying DC Comics. This kills me because I'm a huge Watchmen fan. But I think I can live without them until they get this thing resolved. Now, enough of the downer stuff. Let's move on to the fun stuff. The fun parts of the column this week are Deadpool. We don't need to go into the history of Deadpool. Everyone knows who he is, and I touch on it in the comic book. What I wanted to go through is touch on some of the stuff that you can read and some of the good things that are going on with Deadpool now. Obviously, the first two movies are excellent, so go check them out if you really want to get a good view of Deadpool 2 and that. So let's start talking about the comic books. Things that I would recommend to read. I just finished the Deadpool Beginnings Omnibus, and I think that gives a really good view of who the character is and what he's all about. You'll get to see Deadpool a lot when he was a mercenary, when he was more of a villain before he started taking on. I think the Deadpool everyone knows, the Ryan Reynolds, the Joe Kelly Deadpool, the joking, the fourth wall breaker Deadpool that's so much fun that everyone loves. This is going to give you the background of where he came from, his interaction with a lot of characters that I think would surprise people, especially him being on the villain end with a lot of the X-Men characters. X-Force is involved in this too, and then Cable from Deadpool 2, the movie, is a huge influence or character in those. It wasn't until 1997 when a writer named Joe Kelly took over Deadpool that we started to see the action hero comedy. If you can get your hands on the Deadpool Omnibus by Joe Kelly, I highly recommend it. I myself don't have it. I have the first paperback version of it, and there's a new one coming out in January in 2021. The hardcover edition is very, very difficult to find, but if you can, it's going to give you a really good background to the character. Um, I love Deadpool and I highly recommend this. The last thing we'll talk about Deadpool is Kelly Thompson's new series with Deadpool, where he fights the King of Monsters because why not? That's what Deadpool does. The whole battle takes place on Staten Island, and it's right now in issue 5. And there's a big surprise right at the end of issue 5. And this is one of the newest series that during the relaunch Marvel from COVID that they've really take time to focus on, and I highly recommend it. It's a fun series. The artwork's really good and it's fun. All right, and then lastly, I wanted to touch on Miles Morales and Miles Morales being a part of now the PlayStation universe. Recently, PlayStation made an announcement for their PlayStation 5 system that will be releasing in the holiday season. And one of their smash hits from PlayStation 4 was Spider-Man with Peter Parker. That game's not coming out for the holiday season, but what they did preview was, and it's headlining the system, is Spider-Man featuring Miles Morales. He was a character in the first PlayStation 4 game, but this is going to be his own standalone video game, and it's exciting news. Miles Morales, his star just keeps growing. He took over as Ultimate Spider-Man. He's had 3 runs by himself. He had an Oscar-winning movie, Into the Spider-Verse, and now he's going to headline PlayStation 5 in the new Spider-Man game. So this is really big news. I'm a huge Miles Morales fan, and I'm excited to see this. I'm also a PlayStation fan, so it kind of works hand in hand. So check it out this holiday season when you get a chance, because I think it's going to be a good one. Now we're going to get into another fun part of the monthly video. We're going to talk about recommended reading, and I'll tell you a little bit about why I recommend have these recommendations for you. The first one is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. This is absolutely one of, if not my favorite Deadpool miniseries. It's, I believe, for comic, but you can pick it up at Deadpool Minibus. It's the leading story on there. It's exactly what it says it is. Deadpool kills every single character in the Marvel universe. That includes shooting Spider-Man in downtown New York, et cetera, et cetera. That's why it's a really good one to check out. The artwork's amazing. Deadpool's a classic character that just gets better and better. So this is definitely one you want to check out. The second one, I talked about it earlier, but it's Kelly Thompson's run with Deadpool. Issue number 5 that just came out as Marvel is starting to ship comics again. Highly recommend the first 4 comics, but if you can get into the 5th one, it concludes the first part of the story, and then it kind of sets up something exciting that could possibly tie over with another huge Marvel franchise. These are comic book runs, not movies, but definitely check it out. The third one is Venom number 25. As long as they keep pumping, as long as Donny Cates keeps doing Venom, I'm going to keep recommending this every month. Donny Cates is my favorite writer at Marvel. He's probably my favorite writer, period. The guy is just phenomenal. Venom's one of my favorite characters, but the direction he's taken this series with Carnage, the discovery of Venom's kid, it's just really been a good run for him. Fourth recommendation is a little bit of a goofy one, but I've always had fun reading it. It was, I think, 2 years ago. It was released by Dark Horse Comics, but you can still pick it up on Amazon. The Mask Omnibus Volume 1. It's not like the movie. This isn't Jim Carrey. It's violent, funny, and a whole bunch of goodness rolled into a giant omnibus that has, I believe, 4 miniseries in it, but a very good run nonetheless. The last one's Excalibur. It ties in with X-Men, X-Force, New Mutants, a whole bunch of other stuff. But this is taking Rogue and Gambit are the main characters. Captain Britain is another character that's in here. But this is a very fun run. This is about magic. This is about mutants, and there's a huge crossover that's going to take place between the X-Men and these series coming up from Marvel, and it's going to be their biggest run. So those are my 5 recommendations for you. If you have any more that you want to recommend, hit me up at brettc at NorthcentralPA.com, and we can talk comics. Thank you so much. Bye.